expenditure on culture in those countries, in Africa and Pacific or wherever, just as much as we need it where there is significant government funding. In my experience, one of the greatest problems is for governments to actually be transparent and clear about why they are funding culture, and that's one of their bigger issues, and you touched on that before, and I find the whole discussion's been really good, and I appreciate your input. Perhaps you could talk about what is happening in the UK and what are the kind of explicit reasons for funding arts and culture as opposed to what really might be the reasons. I mean, I think, Lachlan, you talked about the concerns about cultural nationalism, and I think that is one of the reasons that people fund culture, and there are sort of others, and I think governments don't want to be explicit sometimes about why they want to support it, but if they can't be explicit, they're never going to be able to measure or provide any measure of value, I think.
I mean, I don't know if this is a complete answer to that question, but just a couple of observations. I mean, one is that there is definitely a disconnect between the sort of discussion that we're now having and the basis on which decisions are made, in the UK. And it can sometimes, from another country, you look at these papers, David O'Brien's piece, which is a DCMS document, so it's a ministry sort of document, and one can overstate their importance in affecting policy decisions. So we need to be clear about this. This is by no means a description of how policy making and decisions are being made. At the same time, this sense of vulnerability I was describing that I think exists partly because we don't have these firmer definitions and metrics, etc. That vulnerability is very, very real. It's cyclical. You were mentioning the cycle earlier. I mean, there's a 3-year comprehensive spending where public bodies such as the Arts Council of England are told what their budgets are, and there's only a period of a few months when the one round is finished and the next one hasn't started, of where there's some comfort. But aside from those few months, there's a permanent state of anxiety and insecurity, and a lot of energy is burnt up with that, which is distracting those funding organisations from what they should be really doing. The funding situations, the funding concerns are almost existential. They're about the actual Arts Council of England itself, right? I mean, it's got massive cuts it has to achieve in its overheads. Therefore, the organisation spends too much time thinking about its own survival rather than thinking about the needs of the sector it's trying to support. This stuff is really damaging. It's a real deadweight loss. My feeling is that if we can promote the sort of agenda that I'm talking about, that can contribute to putting the sector on a firmer footing, giving more self-confidence they can get on with what they're supposed to be doing. So that's not really a complete answer. I mean, but to be clear, there is a massive disconnect between what I'm talking about and the basis of which decisions are being made.
Look, I think there are some more questions, but I'm afraid we have run out of time for now.